Major selling going on as Bitcoin's price sees its biggest sell-off since 2025 started. Altcoins getting sold off too. There are big buyers buying up this dip. More on that in a little bit. But most people have no idea why this is really happening. I do. Good thing you subscribe to Altcoin Daily. Support me by hitting the like button and comment what altcoin you're buying on this dip. But I've seen so much misinformation around this dip, so do not be fooled. I made this video for you. The real reason crypto is dumping today is as follows. New US economic data is in, the economy is booming in some regards, but things actually don't look as good as expected for risk assets. See, the economy isn't all bad. In a lot of ways, the economy is strong, but the Fed doesn't want it to get too strong too fast because inflation could get out of control. The Fed is desperately trying to tamper down inflation. Now combine that with job openings coming in above expectations. This is the highest we've seen US job openings since June 2024. The rise in job openings and service sector activity, coupled with the higher prices, has contributed to a spike in US 10-year Treasury yields. Bond yields were pushed higher. This all means that the Federal Reserve probably won't be cutting rates anytime soon, or even as frequently as we thought they would this year. At the moment, the market is only pricing in one more rate cut for the rest of this year. I see a lot of people saying that Donald Trump caused this. This is somehow Donald Trump's fault. Either he's pivoting away from his pro-crypto stance that he ran on, or he actually never took it seriously to begin with. Is it Donald Trump's fault? I actually don't believe that's the case. I actually don't see that objectively. I've seen no indication that Trump is lessening his pro-crypto goals. And in fact, he's not even in office yet, but what we've seen actually has given me a lot of hope in his presidency. The people that Donald Trump is appointing will make the US better on crypto, 100%. Like, Donald Trump kind of ran on this a little bit, but I think he actually might try to make the US the most crypto-friendly place in the world. Like, he's obviously going to make it more crypto-friendly. But right now, I would say that either Dubai or Singapore is the most crypto-friendly country in the world or place in the world. If Donald Trump can make the US even more crypto-friendly than Dubai or Singapore, the UAE or Singapore, that would be huge. And there's one thing that everybody agrees on, and I mean, it actually seems like one of Donald Trump's goals is to get Bitcoin's price higher. It actually seems like Donald Trump wants crypto prices to go up during his presidency. That's what people are saying.
I think we're all trying to understand what it means to have a more friendly regulatory environment and sort of how that will therefore manifest itself in some of the valuations that we're seeing, Ari.
Yeah, there were a lot of promises made on the campaign trail, and now we're sort of slowly seeing some of those promises come to life. There's this adage in politics that the people are the policy. And over the last, really since the election, we saw several key appointments really across the cabinet, from Scott Bessent as Treasury Secretary, Paul Atkins as SEC Chair. We have now a crypto czar, or we'll have a crypto czar, David Sachs, an entrepreneur and former PayPal executive. So if the people are the policy, we're seeing people really up and down the cabinet who have been supportive of digital assets, have been supportive of innovation, AI. There's this excitement and I think sort of cadence of almost a space race where the US is now in a position to keep up with the rest of the world or even surpass the rest of the world. And so far, we've seen a number of really key appointments of folks that support innovation in the digital asset space.
But I guess the question is, Ari, if you look at Bitcoin at close to $100,000 now, what happens? Meaning, how's it going to trade in the future? Do you believe it becomes some kind of true electronic currency? What happens that actually brings value to all of this?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, I mentioned the people, and the real question next is sort of what happens from a policy standpoint. We've heard a bunch of different suggestions to include a strategic Bitcoin reserve. But I think what I'm really most excited about is even beyond Bitcoin.
You have a view on what Bitcoin ultimately is going to be worth?
I think we're going to see it go significantly higher. I think things like a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the United States, and it's not just the United States. I think, when countries around the world look at the election, look at some of the campaign promises, and now look at what the Trump administration is already doing, I think we're starting to see other countries and even states. I spoke to folks from Texas recently that are looking to build a strategic Bitcoin reserve. So I think we're going to see it go significantly higher.
So I don't see why Bitcoin would stay under $100,000 for long. Subscribers of our channel already know that exchanges are working with big players to keep prices below $100,000 as long as possible.
There's a lot of folks who don't want Bitcoin over 100,000, and some of it may be the exchanges themselves are concerned because there is a pretty low supply of Bitcoin available over the counter.
Like mid-80s have always been a possibility in the short term. We said that last week. I mean, Bitcoin ran up so much, a dip right now to 85 wouldn't be breaking the market structure. Mid-80s is on the table for the next couple weeks of this month, in my opinion. To be real, I actually think Bitcoin spends almost all, like most of 2025, over 100K. Like, it is totally possible that Bitcoin hits 200K this year. I'm not saying it's the most likely, but this is possible. The market in general for like projections this year, I feel like the market is so bearish. Like, people are so bearish on their cycle price predictions. This is a nascent asset class exploding with growth, adoption, acceptance. I really fear that most people will sell too early. Like, you tell me if you think that this is a concern.
I think a lot of people have the 4-year cycle sort of fractals playing out in their head right now that they're maybe overfitting a little bit too much to. And so when I've like spoken to a lot of, especially fund managers and stuff like that, they're generally, I think, thinking Bitcoin tops out at 125 to 150 this cycle, and it's like March or May time.
We were like 107 like 2 days ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It'd be like, that's generally the sort of sentiment I get. I agree with you guys. I think the risk is that people are too bearish or sell too early, like too early in the year, and then actually might have to buy back or something like that. But I generally sort of get the sense that there's still a little bit of PTSD, which to me says that this is going to go longer than people think, because no one's worried or skittish about the top when it's actually the top. You get these really outlandish predictions and, really smart people actually. Like, I will sell when Larry Fink goes on CNBC and calls it a super cycle and calls for 750K Bitcoin. Like, that's your top signal. But people saying, oh, I think it's going to top at 150K Bitcoin is just not it.
The fact is, they are keeping crypto prices down right now, or at least as much as they're able. They don't want to pay 110K for a Bitcoin when they know that they can propagate a little fear, uncertainty, and doubt and bring the price down to 95 per Bitcoin, or maybe even 85, let alone these altcoin prices. Honestly, that's probably what they're really going after right now. Like, Wall Street has been getting into Bitcoin for the past year or so. I think most people smart enough are starting to realize that many of these altcoins are going to be big players and they're here to stay for the next decade. There's going to be so much growth in the US and around the world for crypto over the next decades. This is where some of the biggest buying is going on, in my opinion. Wake up. Open your eyes. We try to share with you information like this on a daily basis. If you're interested in making money, subscribe to Altcoin Daily for daily videos keeping you informed on the market. I know a lot of you who've been with us for a while are actually doing quite well in crypto. I believe 2025 will be our best year yet, but you need to stick with it. Double down. This is the year where the biggest gains will be made, in my opinion. Of course, anything can happen, not financial advice. My name is Aaron, Altcoin Daily. See you tomorrow, my friends.